I use those reports in my classes just to talk about inequality and to talk about particularly what happens to people when they don't have access to resources and how that can impact other aspects of their lives. And I like these special reports that focus in on special populations, particularly it helps just bring this to a crisper focus, I guess, on certain populations that sometimes get overlooked. And particularly children, even though we talk about children all the time, we don't really talk about the impact of poverty on children and what that means for them in their everyday lives and how that impacts the choices that they can make and the pathways that they can choose and get set out on at an early age. And I think the same is true for the veterans, that while people talk about them all the time, it's not a real deep look at what is life really like for this population and what kinds of challenges do they face and what kinds of struggles do they have. And yes, there are a lot of services, but they may not still be able to reach that economic threshold so that they're comfortable and self-sufficient. And they may be better off than some other people because they do have access to some resources that other populations don't have, or they may be able to have employment because they do have some job skills, but they may not be the kind of job skills that are going to get them to the level where they can be totally self-sufficient and support their families. So still needing a lot of support. And I think this is a really important report for those of us who teach and for those of us who make decisions about policies and services and eligibility for services, because sometimes I think we make rules that don't really take people into account and what the impact on those people would be on an everyday basis. So I hope that people will read it. I think that it's very enlightening. I think there's some interesting and surprising findings in there. And I hope that it helps us all be more thoughtful and sensitive to some of the challenges that people face when they're trying to re-enter a community after having done a service that may have taken a toll on them physically and or mentally, and they're trying to come back and reestablish themselves in a normal life, and they may need our help.